Moose in the live chat. All right, let's get this train back on the tracks. What do you say, Falcons fans? Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose, and on today's live show, we've got a plethora of topics to talk about that'll help the Dirty Birds have a better 2025 season, because right now, vibes are at an all-time low. Isn't that a song? I'm at an all-time low, 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 low. There it is. Yes, you get it. You totally get it. All right, we didn't need enough. We didn't need more of that. Let's just pause on the singing in your end. Yeah. All right, Falcons fans, let's start with this. Raheem Morris went to the presser today, same with Zach Robinson and Michael Penix Jr., and they talked the state of the Falcons after that 30-0 loss against the Carolina Panthers. So I'm going to ask you something. What's your confidence level in the Dirty Birds heading into Week 4 against the Washington Commanders? Scale of 1 to 10. 10 being like, I am the highest I've ever been, and 1 being, good Lord, sell the team. Honestly, 3, 3.5. I mean, look, I'm hopefully optimistic and cautiously optimistic that the Falcons can turn this around. But the truth is, after the performance that we saw, that is not a flush-away game. I know that a lot of people like to believe that it could be like, hey, let's just flush that game down the toilet and move on to the next week. But we are talking about your division rival, one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and you put up 0 points. It's tough. I'm going to give some shout-outs here. Let's give some shout-outs right now. Austin's coming in with a -7. APAT says 5. -0. That's a new one. I've never seen a -0. Luther coming in right about where I'm at, about a 4. Rob saying 5. Trucker saying -5. Hopefully Hopeful says -30. And if you know somebody's named Hopeful and they're saying -30, it's bad news. Larry saying 6. Julio Jones. What up, Julio? One of my favorite players of all time. Saying 5. Kip saying 3. Jaden saying -10. It's not good, guys. I'm right there with you. It's not good. But you know what is good? Hitting the thumbs up icon as soon as you get into the stream. It's like taking off your shoes when you walk into someone's house. It's just polite. We got 90 people in the building rocking with us right now. Make sure you hit that thumbs up icon if you want this stream to grow, and it supports the show. Shout out to Adamas coming in with the $5 Super Chat already, and we will tell you all about Super Chats and this menu coming up here, because it is the last live show before the watch party for you to get in on the Deion Sanders jersey raffle. Y'all hear that? Penix liked the pistol offense. Ridiculous. I'm going to take a little pause here on that for one quick second. I don't know necessarily that he was talking about a specific formation. What he did say was that he likes the offense. He has confidence in the offense. He has faith in Zach Robinson. I think that's his presidential answer coming out, right? As a quarterback, you have to be the leader of the team. You have to say the right thing at the mic at the right time. I believe behind closed doors, Penix says, what the hell are we doing? You saw it in his body language during the Carolina Panthers game. He did not look happy whatsoever. And I'm sure that was part because of his play. I'm sure that was part because they were losing by so much. But I also think that's because he doesn't trust Zach Robinson. That's just my opinion. I'm not Michael Penix Jr., so obviously I can't speak for him. I can just go off of what I see. Speaking of which, and then again, thank you, Adamas, for coming in with the $5 Super Chat. We give away our Deion Sanders jersey next Wednesday, the 1st. So we said at the end of the month, it completely closes off. We will raffle it off next Wednesday on our live show. So today is your last chance to get in on the... But remember, we also have a little Super Chat menu if you want to take a look at it. And I've decided that I am going to spice things up a little bit today. If you send in a $10 Super Chat, I'm going to answer your Super Chat like I would. A really great answer, probably the greatest answer, frankly. That's a $10 Super Chat. I'll answer it like Trump if you want to hear Trump's response to your question. $10 is all it takes. $20 is an automatic entry into the Deion raffle. So whereas during the watch parties, $5 gets you a duck into the duck race to get an entry, you can automatically get yourself in with a $20 Super Chat today. And if you send in a $50 Super Chat, not only are we going to bang, but I'm going to do a beer bong as well. And you get an automatic entry also. Mr. Producer Alpert coming in on the ones and twos today.
Yeah,
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Per usual. I'm doing fine.
Today is one of those days, and correct me if I'm wrong.
It's just one of those days.
Today just
where you
feels
don't
like
want to wake up.
it is dragging today for me. Oh, my Lord. I have no energy. I got that feeling that you get before you get sick. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what
like
you're
that
talking
run-down feeling. So I really need a good night's sleep tonight. I need to just sit my ass on the couch. I need to watch some television. I need to eat a big old bowl of soup. And I need to pass out at like 8:30. That sounds like a great night. Soup, yeah. You don't ever eat soup?
No.
Oh, I love soup. Soup's really good.
I couldn't tell you the last time I ate soup.
What's that coming down the track? What's that coming? Oh, by the way, in case you guys saw we put out a short today, who you got, the Georgia Bulldogs or the Alabama Crimson Tide? And when we walked in to do our short today, I went, what's that coming down the track? Oh, come on.
Nope.
It's the Mean Machine in the red and black.
I went to Kentucky.
Ain't nothing finer in the land than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan. Go, Dogs. Go, Dogs.
Go Cats.
Sick 'em.
Go Cats.
Love it. Oh, we got our first $10 Super Chat coming in from Adamas. All right, let's see what he's got. Remember, I have to answer it like our glorious president.
Like frankly.
What would you say needs the most improvement for week 4 besides coaching options? You know, honestly, frankly, I really think that besides firing that schmuck you call Sleepy Zach, okay, that's what I call him, I really think the Atlanta Falcons need to try to throw the ball down the field. It would be a great thing for Michael Penix Jr. to actually try to throw the ball more than 5 yards, okay? Because right now this pistol offense looks like a squirt gun. Sleepy Zach is what I call him. He's going to move down to the field. He said it would be a great thing for us. And I said, I don't know about that. You're kind of an idiot.
The chat loves it.
I know. $10 and I'll answer your question like Mr. Trump. We might that might be a staple on the show now. We might just have to do like $10, $10, and you're getting your answer.
You could do during the watch party. All right, you send in a 50. I'll do this entire drive. As Trump.
Michael Penix Jr. lines up in the fucking pistol again. Jesus Christ. All right, let's talk about today's show a little bit. The Falcons versus Commanders preview. Let's just get it out of the way. We're going to talk about exactly how I think the Falcons can win. However, if you can't beat the Carolina Panthers, or better yet, you can't score on the Carolina Panthers, going up against the Commanders seems like a very hefty task. But we are going to talk about how I do believe the Atlanta Falcons can pull off the win. There's some keys to victory that I have. Because remember, any given Sunday league, the Falcons can beat anybody on any given game. It is very much the exact fact. So I'm not going to say that the Washington Commanders are going to slaughter the Atlanta Falcons. But if you come out with the exact same energy that you did against the Carolina Panthers, you're going to get crushed. Then we're going to talk about take two. We're going to talk about what Raheem Morris said at his press conference today, because I agree with some of it, right? I thought he gave some very nice answers for some questions, and then other questions I was left scratching my head. And then, of course, we're going to end today's show with a bang. Some trade targets for the Dirty Birds. Players that I believe can make an immediate impact if you were to trade for them today before the trade deadline. Sound good? Awesome. Awesome. Mr. Producer Alper.
Yes, sir.
What's today? The 24th, right?
Today is the 24th.
We're heading into week 4 of the NFL season.
Week 4.
Listen, I got to think that part of the reason why I might feel so lethargic today is because there's not a lot of great vibes going around with the Dirty Birds right now. Because here's the thing, and I said this on the last show, not just the last show. I said this on our last watch party as well. If you would have gone into Carolina and you would have lost 26-23, I would have been far more happy, not only because you scored and it was close, but I could absolutely see a big-time game on Sunday Night Football, right, where you crushed the Minnesota Vikings, dominant defensive performance, on the road, first divisional matchup, and you just couldn't pull off the victory. It makes a whole lot more sense and is a lot more explainable and acceptable. But to go into Carolina with that defense and not put up a single point is demoralizing.
What's demoralizing is committing 5 turnovers and losing by a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's demoralizing. I would have rather have lost 30-0
Amon K.
than literally have the game in hand.
Yeah.
And you can have it.
Oh, like your Patriots
Yes.
did? Yes.
You can have it.
Yeah, if you didn't know, Producer Alper is also the host of our Patriots channel.
Be assertive!
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the Patriots weren't assertive.
Fade-
But the Patriots now face the Carolina Panthers, and I am taking exactly what the Falcons did and taking it into consideration.
I'm not going to lie to you. Fabian and Marlon come in with some very good points. Dan Quinn, I miss him. I miss him big time. I really do. I think Dan Quinn is one of those master motivators. I don't think Raheem Morris has the same kind of... He doesn't ignite the fire like Dan Quinn did to his players. And that's nothing against Raheem Morris as a defensive-minded person, because I do think at the end of the day, he understands defense. Clearly, you see that in the draft. You saw that in free agency. You also see that in some of the, what do you call it, the formations and the game plans that the Falcons have on defense. But the sad fact of the matter is that Dan Quinn knew how to get the best out of every single one of his players. And Raheem Morris just has not figured that out yet. And that's the truth. Pinky! He's in. Legit scared the next 3 games will be belt to ass. Please, can Robinson rise up, please? Go Dogs! You know, the next 3 games, Commanders, Bills, bye week. Who do the Falcons have after the bye? That's a great question. Let me take a look real quick.
They play the Patriots November 2nd.
Actually, look up in matchups. It should be in matchups. After the bye, week 6. What's up, DSG, brother? How are you?
Week 6, they play the Buffalo Bills.
No. After the Bills. Sorry, it goes Commanders, bye week, Bills, then week 7.
Commanders, bye week, Bills, San Francisco 49ers, Miami Dolphins,
Jesus.
New England Patriots.
All right. Yeah, the Niners, I mean, beatable team, but still. Anyway, Pinky, I appreciate it. I totally get where you're coming from, brother. I am going to put you at the very top of this list because you are automatically in. Shout out to Pinky coming in with a $20 super chat. Pinky it is. All right, let's get into our first segment, shall we? Let's talk all about how the Atlanta Falcons can beat the Washington Commanders. By the way, we got 132 people rocking with us in the building. If you want to get in on the Deion Sanders jersey, all it takes is $20 and you are automatically in, just like Pinky did right here. But if you want your question to be answered by none other than our President Donald J. Trump, then $10 is what it takes. $50 is going to get you an automatic entry and a beer bong. And make sure you hit that thumbs up icon before you take off. Let's do it. Let's talk all about how the Dirty Birds can beat the Commanders. Oh no, push it across. Push it across. I don't know. I don't know.
Do that?
I don't know. That it happens all the time. Technical difficulties. All right, let's do this.
Oh my God. Try it again.
Try it again. All right, Dirty Birds fans, we're washing our hands clean right now of that Carolina Panthers loss 30-0 in week 3. Now, that doesn't mean that I am hopefully and not even cautiously. It doesn't mean I'm hopefully optimistic. It just means that I'm trying to forget the stink that was that game. So I'm going to try to get the vibes going one more time for you guys. If you're ready for a fresh start, if you're ready to just have a clean slate, move forward, and try to be better in week 4, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up icon. It shows me that although you might be upset with the current state of the Dirty Birds, you are still a diehard fan. All right, let's talk about the Washington Commanders because their offense is clearly the strength of their team. Yards per game, they ranked 9th total in the NFL. Passing yards per game is 20th, but that took a little bit of a dip because Jaden Daniels didn't play against the Las Vegas Raiders. The rushing yards per game is their big momentum swinger. Second right now in the NFL in rushing yards per game. They have a dynamic rushing attack. And points per game, 7th in the NFL. It is going to be a tough matchup for the Falcons defense. That doesn't mean I don't think they can rise to the challenge because right now, the Falcons defense, to me, is the positive of this team. But if you look at the playmakers that the Commanders have, the commies, Jaden Daniels looks like he's going to play. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is like a diamond in the rough. Terry McLaurin probably won't play, so that's good news, at least for the Dirty Birds in that sense. But you still have Deebo Samuel and Zach Ertz. They can hurt you in so many ways. But if we're going to the two biggest playmakers, the guys that you cannot let beat you, well, both of them are at least either A, banged up, or B, not playing. Jaden Daniels was limited in practice today, whereas last week he didn't practice at all. So he's trending in the right direction, meaning to me at least, most likely he's going to play. Terry McLaurin did not practice. To me, that indicates he's probably not going to be a go for that game. Here's the overall take. The Commies are a very talented football team. But with Daniels banged up, you have to stop the run. They are going to lean on the running attack. And Daniels is a player that can do it both with his legs and with his arm. So if you can contain him, if you can keep him inside the pocket, if you can force him to make long, exaggerated drives on this hobbled up body of his right now, I think you might have a shot. And where does that start for the Atlanta Falcons? It starts with the front 5. Now, remember, this is not a exact starting front 5 because Jeff Ulbrich always rotates players in and out. So I just have the front 5 listed as this right now. Walker, Rook, David Onyemata, Zach Harrison, and Leonard Floyd. Obviously with a multitude of players rolling in, out, etc. James Pierce Jr. will see more time. You get my point. Here is the ultimate fact that you need to know. The Falcons against the run have been very good. That's the good news. Against the Buccaneers, they only gave up 101 yards. Against the Vikings, even less than that, 78. The Panthers, they didn't look nearly as good. The run defense was shaky, but they only gave up 110. So clearly, if there is a strength for the Atlanta Falcons on defense right now, their front 5 is performing far better than it has in years past. And the secondary looks really good. Even against Bryce Young, I thought the Falcons secondary, for the most part, outside of a couple of plays here and a couple of plays there, were sticky all day in coverage. You cannot ask your defense to make play after play after play if your offense scores 0 points. So after a certain point in that game, the defense just goes, what else can we do? If we can't put points on the board, nothing we do is going to matter. And that's the truth. So right now, the Falcons defense, I'm not even that concerned about because we saw what they did against the Minnesota Vikings. And when the offense can put points on the board, this Falcons defense shows up and it shows out. So that leads me into my final question about the Commanders' offense. Who is the biggest threat on the Commies' side of the ball, that side of the football? Obviously, it's Jaden Daniels, but if I were to take the quarterback out of the equation, I'd probably go with Deebo Samuel. He's a player that can line up in the backfield, but also can line up wide, can line up in the slot. He's a multifaceted player that can do a lot, especially with yards after the catch. Let me know in the comment section down below. Let's talk about the offense because it's not good right now. However, I feel like there are some really interesting opportunities that the Falcons have, at least right now, to make sure that they do their job to secure the W. Now, Mr. Producer Alper, it is actually Prize Picks that we're going to go to on today's episode. And today's episode is, of course, sponsored by our friends over at Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season with Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. It's very simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. It is the very best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. How does a lineup work? Here's mine for week 4. Jalen Hurts on the max discount play. Obviously, he's going to have more than half a passing yard. But then I took Jahmyr Gibbs on the more and a rushing touchdown. Did you see what they did against the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football? It was a slaughterfest. And then, of course, had to pick one from the Dirty Birds. Mr. Drake London, I do think he finds the end zone this week. I have to think that at least he will find the end zone. But your picks can look like mine. They can look different than mine. Just download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. So I'm man enough to admit when I make a mistake. In a couple videos, actually 2 videos in a row, I came to you and I said, the Falcons have not scored a touchdown in 2 weeks. I was wrong. I had meant to say the Falcons have not had a passing touchdown in 2 games. Obviously, Tyler Algier found the end zone against the Minnesota Vikings, albeit it was kind of a, we're going to let you score here. But I'm man enough to admit when I've made a mistake. So the Falcons have not had a passing touchdown in 2 games. Still unacceptable. Still a very bad statistic. So let's talk about the offense. What do we need to know from a keys to victory perspective surrounding the Dirty Birds? How do they beat the Washington Commanders defense? The first things first, and I plead with Zach Robinson, absolutely begging him on my hands and knees, praying, run more plays under center. Well, Moose, Michael Penix Jr. didn't do that a lot at college. So, neither did Caleb Williams. And he's learning how to do it under Ben Johnson's offense. Good offensive coordinators will coach their quarterbacks into playing multiple styles of football. Here's the sad fact. MPJ has taken the least amount of snaps, that's supposed to say snaps, not stats, the least amount of snaps under center of any starting quarterback in the NFL. Pathetic. And I don't even think, truthfully, he's had 1 passing attempt. I could be wrong about this. I don't think he's had 1 passing attempt under center. And if he has, it's been, I can count him on one hand. That's so unbelievably pathetic. Playing under center is a staple as an NFL quarterback. This is no longer college. You cannot get away with playing in the pistol or in the shotgun 100% of the time. You have to switch it up. Period. Number 2, create a game plan. and stick to it. I don't care what your game plan is, Zach Robinson, but commit to something because you look lost out there. And if we go to the Commies' defensive stats, if we're talking about, is this team able to be beaten? Yes. They are not a explosive defense. They're all right. They're okay. They're right in the middle. They're gettable. Yards allowed per game, 20th. Passing yards allowed per game, 23rd. Better against the run and good in stopping points, meaning their red zone defense is probably pretty good. Here's my prediction, or what I want to see. How about this for a game plan? Get aggressive. Take some shots downfield. We saw the dink and dunk against the Carolina Panthers. Didn't work. We saw the run-heavy approach against the Minnesota Vikings. Worked marginally. And we saw the first week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, probably your best offensive game, but still hasn't been good enough. So let's finally see what Michael Penix Jr. can do with the deep ball. Send somebody. Send London. Send Pitts up the seam. Send Mooney. I don't care who he is. Ray. Send anybody down the field and just see what the guy can do. Let him take some shots down the field. My third key to victory, and this probably shouldn't even be one. It's kind of common knowledge, but I feel like now I have to say it anyway, considering what we saw against the Panthers. Manage the play clock effectively. I'll say it one more time. You had a delay a game penalty coming out of a timeout. That's inexcusable. That's entirely on your coaching. I don't care if the helmet goes out. You got to be prepared for any situation in the NFL. Make sure you're getting the plays on time and getting them out quickly. Joe Patrick, who's a Falcons beat reporter, said this, and it perfectly surmises what I'm talking about. The Falcons continually are getting set at the line of scrimmage with under 10 seconds on the play clock. Patrick said, well, that's what he said. Then put players in motion with the snap coming damn near zero on the play clock almost every single play. A young quarterback barely has time to look at the defense, zero chance to can plays. Meaning he can't call an audible at the line of scrimmage. He can't identify the Mike linebacker. He cannot change anything that he needs to or signal a player. It's just not good enough. Give your young quarterback more time to get the play off correctly. Finally. And this is just more recency bias than anything. Limit the turnovers. I don't really have a huge deep dive analytic on this. I have a basic take. Nothing kills a drive and the momentum quite like a turnover. I think you saw after the pick six that Penix threw last week, the team's air or their energy or their juice, whatever you want to call it, just went straight into the tubes. It was awful. So limit the turnovers, especially when you're inside the 20s. If you're in your own 20, you can't turn the ball over. If you're in the red zone on the other side, you can't turn the ball over. If you can limit the turnovers, if you can manage the clock effectively, if you stick to a game plan, you should be fine. So do me a favor. Last question for you. Drop your score predictions in the chat below. Let me know right now. If you're watching during our live show, let me know in the live chat. But if you're watching this during our regularly scheduled programming, let me know in the comment section. Here's my official prediction. I can't in good conscience, and sorry if this offends anybody, I cannot pick the Falcons to win after that game. I just can't. So my final score, although it gets better for the Falcons, is that the Commanders win 26-17, especially if Jaden Daniels plays. He's a far better quarterback right now at this point than Michael Penix Jr. So, I have the Commanders winning right now 26-17. I hope the Falcons come out with a fire lit under their ass, and I hope they secure the W because I am a fan just like you. But right now, from what I saw last week, I can't in good faith pick the Dirty Birds. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to like the video if you haven't already. And as always, be cool. All right, let's get some shout-outs, shall we? What's your bro got home? What does that mean?
Bro got home? Clown. I don't know. Maybe he just thinks you're a clown.
Maybe he does. Maybe he does, but I'd be very curious to see why, Truck and Tay, you think the Falcons can come out after what you saw last week and win like that. You can call me a clown. That's fine. It's no skin off my teeth.
If Jaden Daniels doesn't play, the Falcons should win the game.
Oh, he's saying, bro, go home. That's what he's saying. Got it. Well, no, this is my job. I got to stay here. But again, like I said, easy question. What makes you think from what you saw last week that the Falcons are going to win that game?
Is there anything left in that energy drink?
No. Actually, yeah, a little bit. Do you want it? I mean, there's like literally, it's not going to be any caffeine.
Just need a drink. You want to hear something funny?
Ask Avery to bring you some water. What?
Cam Ward was limited in practice with 2 injuries.
Was he really?
Yeah.
No, that's even worse. Look, I'm optimistic. I want the Falcons to win this game, and I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope that I can come to you guys in an instant reaction video on Sunday and say, hey, they shut me the hell up. I'm just a YouTube personality. I watch the game of football, I give you what I see after the week, and I talk about where the state of the Falcons are, and I give my take. Scary Terry most likely will be out, Amon. It looks like Jaden Daniels is going to play, and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, he might also be out. And if that's the case, the Falcons defense has a much better shot of limiting this Commanders offense. But I'm hoping they come out and they start swinging. I really do. A Bajan legacy game would be... If Bijan Robinson came out and had 200 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, it would feed families. It would feed families. All right, remember, if you want your question, your Falcons question, answered by your great president right here, Mr. Donald J. Trump, make sure you send in a $10 super chat. $20 gets you automatically entered into our Deion Sanders jersey raffle, which will take place next Wednesday. And then, of course, if you send in a $50 super chat, we're going to throw down a beer bong, and you will also get automatic entry to our Deion Sanders raffle. All right, let's talk about our second subject of today. And that is going to be what Raheem Morris said at his press conference today, because I have got some interesting thoughts based off of what he said. He talked a little bit about the quarterback. He's talked about the state of the Falcons after the loss. And, of course, he talked about the Ike Hilliard firing. And there are some statements that I agree with, and there are some statements that I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? We're going to get into all of that in this episode right here. Dirty Birds fans, Raheem Morris took to the press conference, to the microphone today, and talked about what the state of the Atlanta Falcons is right now after that embarrassment of a performance against the Carolina Panthers after they lost 30-0. Welcome in, Falcons fans, to Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. On today's episode, I'm going to deep dive and talk about what Raheem Morris said specifically about QB1, about the Falcons as a whole, and, of course, about the Ike Hilliard firing, because some things I do agree with, and there are some things that I definitely don't. Let me ask you this question real quick. If you're watching during our live show, make sure you put this down in the live chat right now. But if you're watching during our regularly scheduled programming, put it down in the comment section down below. Your confidence level heading into week 4, as of right now, I'm probably at a 4. Based off of what I saw last week, I am very, very concerned. However, cautiously optimistic would probably be the best word. Let's talk about what Raheem Morris talked about in his press conference today. The first things first, he was asked about the confidence in Michael Penix Jr. This is actually where I'll give Raheem Morris some credit. I'm not going to be the negative Nelly on this show. I'm not going to be the one that is always banging and slamming on the head coach, because I do think that there are times when he makes a lot of sense. And there's other times I'm like, what are you talking about? But here's what the question was asked. Somebody in the Falcons media group, I don't know who, said, is Michael Penix Jr.'s job safe? And will you be exploring Kirk Cousins as your starting quarterback at any point moving forward? And I, as a less even-keeled human being, would have flipped my shit because that is a stupid, stupid question. But Raheem Morris actually handled it with a bit of grace. He said, Mike is our quarterback. We've got a lot of confidence in Mike. We're moving forward with Mike. Mike is the guy. And that was it. That's all he had to say on the subject. Good for you, Raheem, because I probably would have snapped back with some quippy, sardonic remark and probably would have gotten fined or at least had owed an apology to said Falcons beat reporter because, in my honest opinion, this is a very stupid question. We are talking about Michael Penix Jr., who has had 6 starts to his name. And there are some Falcons media members that are already asking, is it time to give up? Are you kidding me? That is ridiculous. And granted, the 6 games that he's started, the stats don't look great. He's still a kid operating in this Zach Robinson-style offense. Don't worry, we're going to touch on him here in a little bit. I just think we owe Michael Penix Jr. more time because we do. How many games do you think that Michael Penix deserves? At least as much as the other quarterbacks in his draft class. But like I said, it's a stupid question for the media to talk about Cousins being the starter. Raheem handled that with class. So I will give my tip of the cap to Raheem Morris in that sense. There's a lot of things that I don't, but this time I absolutely will. And back on the subject, the quarterback class that Michael Penix Jr. was in. Just take a look right now at all the other quarterbacks that have gotten their starts. Caleb's got 20. Jaden's got 19. Drake's got 15. Bo's got 20. And J.J. McCarthy being the only one that has less than Michael Penix Jr. Penix has significantly less than even the third most on this list, which is Drake May. And the reality of the situation is the locker room and the coaching staff all love Michael Penix Jr. They love who he is as a person. They love who he is as a quarterback. He's great at the podium. He takes accountability. He takes responsibility. I think he's got talent. I think he will be just fine. Now, what do you do with the offense is a different story. But I think Michael Penix Jr. as the Falcons quarterback is going to be here for quite some time. Let's go to the second talking point. The decision to fire Ike Hilliard. You started off so hot, Raheem, and then you were right at that peak, and I'm like, this is a good press conference. And then all the way down. Back to Taryn Wack. Fun fact, my sister's name is Taryn, spelled differently, but same pronunciation. Falcons head coach Raheem Morris on the decision to part ways with wide receivers coach Ike Hilliard. Performance-based. Just like everything else in this business. Tough decision. People business. Hard for me. Hard for the organization. Hard for Ike and his family. Here's exactly what he said, by the way. This was the official quote on why he fired Ike Hilliard. And in case you don't want to read it, I'll just basically kind of summarize everything. I wanted to be able to go into that room and present to those guys the right way to get things done, the way we want them to get done. Not just we, but them as well. So talking about the continuity between the coaching staff and the players and the overall identity of the Atlanta Falcons and the messaging that, hey, we're not going to accept performances like these. It goes on to say that there's no blame going around, which I disagree with vehemently. But obviously, when you make moves like that, it feels like you are shifting blame. You have to make moves like that, but I have to make directional decisions for our group. You need to have the environment. You need to have the coaching. You need to have the detail. It goes on and goes on. Here's my first thought when I read that. What? No blame. That's clearly what that firing was. It's a scapegoat firing. You clearly are blaming Ike Hilliard for the problem. And if you aren't, you're sending a message that somebody is to blame. Don't you agree? So I'm going to give you more thoughts here in just a little bit. I promise you, you're going to want to stick around for that because I'm about to tee off a little bit here on Raheem Morris. But before I do that, I got to tell you about my friends over at Brunt. Ooh, this is a great, great work boot. For me, in working in the Texas summer heat, as somebody that has to go out and do a ton of yard work, my work boots are not something that I want to compromise with, especially with the sleek Marin design. It is comfortable, it's stylish, and it is durable. And that's where Brunt changed the game. Work boots used to mean that you had to sacrifice comfort, but not anymore. And that's why I love my Brunt work boots. Choosing work boots used to mean sacrificing that comfort and durability. Like I said, if they felt good, it didn't last. And if they lasted, they wrecked your feet. These Brunt boots were comfortable right out of the box. Most other boots require a significant break-in period, not like this. But Brunt isn't just about work boots. They offer a full range of high-performance gear built for tough jobs. From heavy-duty work pants to weather-resistant jackets, Brunt designs durable, reliable workwear to keep you protected and productive in any condition. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work way too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that just don't hold up. So they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners get $10 off at Brunt when you use code CHAT at checkout. Just head to bruntworkwear.com, use the code CHAT, and you are good to go. And after you order, they're going to ask, hey, where'd you hear about us? Do us a favor and tell us the friends over at Falcons Today sent you. So Raheem Morris went on and said, right now we have receivers without touchdowns. We have wideouts that are craving the football. Correct. You do. And do you think that firing the guy that everybody liked in the room, the guy that was in charge of the wide receivers, was the right move? Because the truth is, there's only one guy you should be pointing the finger at right now, and it's this dude right here, Zach Robinson. Isn't the very first person to question, based off of an offensive performance like that, the OC? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, who's calling plays? Is it Ike? No, it's Zach. It's Z-Rob. So why on earth do you go in and say, look, we really didn't like that performance, so Ike, you're out. And Zach Robinson, naughty, naughty, shame on you. It just didn't make any sense. The first person that you have to question is your OC, which leads me to my next point. There's a lot of finger pointing going on in that locker room right now. Whose fault is it actually? It's Zach Robinson's. That's the ultimate underlying point. It's Zach. And ultimately, if you're Raheem Morris, you hired him, so the buck stops with you as well. You are ultimately responsible for the people that you hire. So it's on Zach Robinson, and even one step above that, it's on you, Raheem. So quit pointing the finger. I also think it's important to note that it can't necessarily be Ike Hilliard's fault when your advanced offensive analytics look like this. EPA per play, 27th in the NFL. EPA per pass, 28th in the NFL. EPA per run, 13th, which is a little bit better, but not great. This is your offense as a whole, Zach Robinson. It's not good enough. I don't think that's a result of your wide receivers coach not scheming his guys open. That's your job. So who's to blame for the offensive struggles? Duh, the answer's obvious, but I'm going to ask you anyway. So let me know in the live chat or in the comment section down below. Let's talk about the final talking point here as we wrap up today's show. Zach Robinson's accountability. I'm actually making a little bit of an amendment to this one. I'm not going to take what Raheem Morris said. I'm going to take what Zach Robinson said out of his own mouth, because he took to the press conference, and man, did he face a slew of tough questions. Here's what Mark Romaldi had to say. Zach Robinson referred to the offensive performance as a, quote, comedy of errors. We all thought it was funny too, Zach, but not because of the outcome, because of your inept play calling. So glad you see it the way that we see it. Here's the difference. One of us is getting paid millions of dollars to call plays for the Atlanta Falcons. And accountability, which he did take, by the way, he said, I do take full responsibility for the offensive ineptitude that went on against the Panthers. Accountability only matters if you plan on fixing the mistakes that you made previously. Period. End of story. It's like when you say I'm sorry to someone. You can't say I'm sorry to someone and then continue to treat them the exact same way that you've been treating them. Because then the question becomes, are you actually sorry, or are you just saying that? So are you actually taking accountability here, Zach Robinson, or do you know you just have to? Do you see my point? So my message to you at this point, find an identity, and Bijan Robinson is not an identity. He's not. But what could your identity be? I've come up with 4. I'm going to help you, Zach Robinson. I'm going to give you some offensive identities that you can go forward with for the remainder of the 2025 season. How about a run-heavy scheme with Bijan and Algier, kind of like Sonic and Knuckles over there in Detroit? Yes, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. How about some heavy play-action passing games? Because, I don't know, you got a young quarterback, and usually play-action works well if you got a young guy to scheme open wide receivers. Maybe a timing and rhythm passing attack. Maybe a fast-paced tempo offense. Something that could get Michael Penix going without having to think. Or you could do what you've been doing, but a little bit more effectively and just methodically chunk the ball down the field and take a lot of time off the clock. I don't care which one you pick or any that you pick, but you better find one soon, because when you play the Washington Commanders in Week 4, they're going to come at you with a flurry of offensive talent. And at that point, you absolutely better be ready. That Week 4 matchup, right around the corner. So, let's go. Let's get a W. That's what was said at the press conference today. I don't know if it makes you feel any better. It kind of leaves me feeling the exact same as I did when I woke up this morning. But until then, Falcons fans, I need you to rise up real quick, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and be cool. I like that. Picasso. Mwah. Honestly, no, hold on.
Is he on to something?
Girthquake might be on to something there. I would not mind Mike McDaniel as an offensive coordinator. Not as a head coach. Oh, God, no. But as a offensive coordinator, that guy is a genius. He is a nerd. He is a football savant. He just happens to have concussion-prone Tua Tagovailoa and literally no defense. So, negative defense. All right, we've got one more awesome, what do you call it? Segment. That's right. Planned for you today. And it's going to be a little bit more of ethereal, right? It's going to be something that's not necessarily tangible, but something I believe can be a lot of fun if you treat it the right way. I'm going to give you some trade targets for the Atlanta Falcons if they are willing to buy before the trade deadline. Obviously, if you lose 4 more games before the deadline starts, you might be looking to sell and just restock back up in the draft. But right now, I still think the Atlanta Falcons could be in a position to buy. There's a couple of names out there that I believe can help them on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, I think we're fine. I think it's just time, development, snaps, repetition, over and over again. Rinse and repeat. That's what you need to do. Offensively, there's a lot of help that's needed. So I've given you a couple of options at weapons to maybe trade for, and then one more on the offensive line. Let me know if you're ready for it by typing those ATLs. If you want to see a trade candidate video, type those ATLs right now. Trucker, I'm glad you brought that up about the Oklahoma State job. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode. That's all I'll say. Yeah, we got a lot of people coming in. They want to see some trade candidates. They want to see some trade targets. How about you, Mr. Producer Alper? Do you want to see some trade targets?
I'm always good for a trade or two.
Anybody that the New England Patriots want to target?
No. Well, they did target Jarvis Brownlee Jr. at cornerback because Alex Austin is terrible, but the Titans ended up trading him to the Jets.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wish I would have put DJ Moore in this. I really wish. Fun fact, Amon, I did not put DJ Moore in this list. You will not see DJ Moore, but man, that would be a good fit.
Wrong one.
It'd be a very good fit. DJ is a hell of a player, and he does not like Caleb Williams. I can pretty much guarantee that. You can just tell in his body language he hates him.
Oh, he does not like Caleb.
He doesn't like Caleb at all. No. All right, here we go. Let's get into it. Last one's last. Here we go.
Save the best for last.
Save the best for last. Let's get into it.
I got to re-pull up the doc.
That's fine.
All right,
no, that's
there
fine.
we go.
All righty. Here, as soon as I get back into my doc, because I got booted out. Hold on. Oof, my neck needs to crack big time. All right, there we go. We're good. Let's do this. Some of Stepfather Moose. I saw your comment. I laughed hysterically. I loved it. All right. What's up? Oh, that's right. Yes. Ooh, Adam Prentice got moved up. Nice. All right. Here we go. Let's do some trade target stuff, shall we? Before we get into today's episode, which is all about trade targets for the Dirty Birds, the Commanders Report has issued a challenge. They believe that they can beat us in this weekly sub battle. And here's what's crazy. Not just 2 months ago, we were down by 10,000 subscribers. We have caught up significantly. So I believe that Dirty Birds fans who want free Atlanta Falcons content will hit that subscribe button and help us beat the Washington Commanders on and off the field. Let's talk trade targets for the Dirty Birds, shall we? I believe there are 3 players, and I've highlighted all 3 of these, that the Dirty Birds can trade for that will make this offense a better unit in 2025. All right, let's talk a little bit about the trade targets here. But before we do that, let's just do very briefly, before the trade deadline, what does it mean? So the trade deadline this year is November 5th, which is week 9, which sounds like a mile away, but in reality, it's only 6 weeks away. Good teams usually add players, they buy, and bad teams usually sell players for draft picks. They sell to gear up for the next season. I believe the Atlanta Falcons are kind of in between right now. I know what you're probably thinking. Moose, the Falcons look like a bad team. But if you saved the season by trading for one of these 3 players, I truly believe they could make an immediate impact and actually help out the Dirty Birds, making this offense look better. So there could still be a splash move on the horizon for the Atlanta Falcons. Let's dive in and talk about the first one. You've seen him on the channel before. His name is Tyreek Hill. Oh, great. Here we go again with the Tyreek Hill trade rumors. Yeah, admittingly, about a month ago when I made this video, it was probably more of a pipe dream, but now the relationship between Tyreek Hill and Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins has soured so much that even ESPN is out there saying, yeah, it's going to happen. They're going to trade Tyreek Hill. They want him out of South Beach. And I think Tyreek wants out of South Beach. In fact, here's what ESPN specifically had to say. Here's the one that everyone's been talking about since the offseason. Hill was openly dissatisfied when the 2024 season ended, and when the team did not move on from him, he and quarterback Tua talked in training camp about the fact that the relationship between Hill and the team was in need of repair. But he's still a 31-year-old wide receiver with no guaranteed money on his deal beyond this season. That is a very important fact that you need to know. And a base salary of $10 million that wouldn't be tough for any other team in the NFL to take on, meaning the Falcons could afford him. Now, where does he stand from a football perspective? On the field, production-wise. I'm not going to lie to you. Last year, bleeding into this year, it hasn't been great. I also believe he's not giving it 100%. I don't think he cares about his productivity on this Dolphins team anymore. I think he's trying to get out. It's just going to be a matter of when do the Dolphins trade Tyreek Hill. So let's just go back the last 4 seasons, including this one, and talk about Tyreek. It wasn't just 2 years ago that he was considered, if not one of, the top 3 wide receivers in the NFL. Almost 1,800 yards, 13 touchdowns in 2023. Last year, not nearly as good, but Tua also missed 5 games due to a concussion. So that definitely took a hit, and he would have absolutely been over 1,000 yards. I believe Tyreek Hill is still a 1,000-yard wide receiver. Could you imagine what this would look like if Drake London, Darnell Mooney, and Tyreek Hill were your big 3? Holy freaking guacamole, man. That would look unbelievable. It would feed families. And with this nickel and dime offense that the Falcons currently are trotting out onto the field with Zach Robinson leading the helm and leading the charge for, hey, let's throw the ball 5 yards down the field. You need someone that can separate and be great in yards after the catch. Enter Tyreek Hill. He's also a deep threat. He can do it all. He's great over the middle of the field. He's good in man coverage. He's good in zone coverage. He can separate. And with the ball in his hands, he is one of the best in the league. But what would it cost to get him? I'm glad you asked. Not nearly as much as it costs to get him. They're just trying to get him out of the building. So I do believe the Falcons could trade their 2026 fourth-round pick and David Sills and a little bit of cash compensation and just get him out of the building. And then Tyreek would be a dirty bird. That's probably what it looks like, and I don't know what it looks like from a long-term perspective because Tyreek is probably looking for a long-term deal. I don't think he's going to get it being 31 years old, but could you sign him to a 2-year deal after that? Sure, absolutely. So, honestly, if this was the call that was made by Chris Greer and Terry Fontenot, I'm making it. If you would make this trade, type T for trade or type P for pass. Let me know in the live chat or in the comment section down below. Let's move on to the second trade target. David Njoku. Interesting. Moose, a tight end. Don't we have one of those? You do. We do. But not quite the way that I want them to be used because the NFL, the best teams, the best offensive coordinators use 12-man personnel like clockwork. I think David Njoku makes great sense for the Dirty Birds. Big time. And I'm going to tell you why I believe that works, especially with Kyle Pitts as a yin and yang situation. Now, before I do that, I'm going to tell you about our friends over at Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but a Prize Picks being right can actually get you paid. Did you know that you can be right and make tons of money on Prize Picks this football season? So don't miss any of the excitement on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Very simple to play. Pick 2 to 6 players and their stat projections, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in. It is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Join millions of users and sign up today. Here's my lineup for week 4. Jalen Hurts, max discount play, more than half a passing yard. Duh. Jahmyr Gibbs, more on the rushing or receiving touchdown. And then, of course, I had to throw Drake London in there. I do think he finds the end zone this week. And boy, howdy, wouldn't it look great if Drake London and Tyreek Hill were teammates. All you got to do is download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. So why on earth is David Njoku a good amount of sense for the Dirty Birds? I believe David Njoku is one of the most underrated tight ends in the NFL. It just so happens that he has to play for an inept organization in the Cleveland Browns, who have never had stability at the quarterback position. I bet you any kind of money Njoku is pleading for some quarterback stability. But let's talk about who he is as a player. 2017 first-round draft pick by the Cleveland Browns, has spent his entire career there. 363 career receptions. 2023 was his best season. Just 2 years ago, same as Tyreek, he had 882 yards receiving. Now, he is kind of a different mold from Kyle Pitts. Although they might be similar in size, they play differently. And the Browns, believe it or not, just went out and drafted a kid from Bowling Green named Harold Fannin Jr., who is clearly eating into the snaps of David Njoku. He's younger, he's talented, he plays a lot like Kyle Pitts does. They like him a lot. And I don't think the Browns want to re-sign David Njoku. In fact, MSN said the same thing. David Njoku remains one of the most talented tight ends in the league. He has tremendous hands, creates mismatches against linebackers, and thrives in the red zone. However, Njoku is entering his final year of his contract, and the Browns drafted Harold Fannin Jr. in the 3rd round of the 2025 NFL Draft. Cleveland already trusts Fannin as he drew in 9 targets in week 1 and then turned them into 7 catches for 63 yards. With Fannin with his quick involvement in the offense, Njoku's future becomes more uncertain. So what does it cost to get Njoku? That same 4th round pick that you would send for Tyreek Hill, you could use for Njoku if you wanted to. And David Njoku, just like that article and I have been saying, is an absolute force over the middle of the field. He can body off bigger defenders like linebackers and create separation off the line. He's also phenomenal in the play-action game, something that I believe Kyle Pitts doesn't necessarily have. Kyle Pitts is more of a lineup in the slot and just kind of roam around wherever he sees fit. And Njoku plays a lot more in structure. And if you have both of them on the same team, I'm not even saying get rid of Pitts. If you have them both on the same team, that dual tight end set allows Pitts to play almost exclusively as a bigger wide receiver, which is what he wants to do. You've seen Kyle Pitts try to throw a block. He hates it. So if you get Njoku, who can block, if you keep Kyle Pitts as a wide receiver, that opens up a whole new area of possibilities for the Dirty Birds in their passing game. So let me ask you, would you trade for David Njoku? Would you support a trade for David Njoku? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm saying yeah. If you had to ask my opinion, who would I rather have, Hill or Njoku, it'd probably be Hill, but David Njoku would be just as nice. Let's talk about my final trade target. Oh boy, I got an offensive tackle on here. Cam Robinson of the Houston Texans. The Texans right now, biggest surprise to me in the NFL, and not in a good way. They were predicted to be a Super Bowl bubble team this year, and they're 0-3. And Cam Robinson seems to be one of these players that could start immediately at that tackle position, that right tackle position for the Dirty Birds, because Elijah Wilkinson I don't think is good enough right now. 101 career starts, above average pass blocker. He's only a 3.25 cap hit if he's traded. So it makes a lot of sense for a lot of different teams. And I know that the Houston Texans are going to start blowing it all up. They just released CJ Gardner-Johnson. So this could be something that the Falcons use to bolster that offensive line a little bit. Here's the only problem. Cam Robinson has never taken a snap at right tackle. And the way that the Falcons' offensive line is currently slated, everything is kind of shaped up except for the right tackle position. So, what would you do? You'd either A, have to ask Cam Robinson to take snaps at a position he's never done, or B, move Jake Matthews to right tackle and put Cam Robinson at left tackle. That's probably what I would do. He's never taken a single snap at the right tackle position. He's been exclusively a left tackle, but that's almost better considering he wouldn't have the pressure of protecting Michael Penix Jr.'s blind side. So it almost makes more sense to trade for a left tackle rather than a right tackle. Because now your left tackle can also move over to the right side and protect just as well. And I'm sure you're wondering, Moose, didn't we already trade for an offensive lineman? Didn't we already trade for a tackle? What was that guy's name? Oh, yeah, Michael Jarrell. He hasn't taken a snap yet. He's a backup. We traded for a backup. I mean, it was a conditional 7th, so it's not like you gave up a ton. But it's still a backup trade. Cam Robinson is a starter. He's not someone that you would put on the practice squad. In fact, you would delegate someone from the offensive line and probably move them to the practice squad. Just a thought. Before I get out of here today, those are my 3 trade candidates for the Dirty Birds. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It helps grow the channel, and let's beat those nasty commies over there at the Commander's Report. Rise up, Falcons fans. Like the video, subscribe, and be cool. Bang, bang. Bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, bum, ba. All righty. Last minute, we'll give you, what is it, 4:04? How about we give them 3 more minutes? 3 more minutes, and then we'll take off and get on out of here. If you want to get in on the Deion Sanders jersey raffle, $20 is all it takes to get in automatically. So rather than try to get a duck to get an entry, if you send in $20 today, you are automatically in the Deion Sanders jersey raffle. And a reminder, we give that away next Wednesday on the 1st. It ends on the 30th. That is the last day that you can get in on the Deion Sanders jersey raffle. And then, of course, all of the people that are currently qualified, there are 13 of 14 now with Pinky. 14 people that are in the race currently. So if you want to be one of those people, all you got to do is send in a 20. Some how would you feel about picking C.J. Gardner-Johnson? I don't think they need C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He's a safety. So, I mean, and the Falcons' safeties are good. Bates and Watts and also DeMarco Hellams. Like,
get Michael Vick as the new OC for the Dirty Birds.
Vic? I mean, where is he coaching now? Isn't it Portland State?
No, Norfolk State.
Norfolk State?
Is he at Norfolk State? Yes, he is.
Norfolk State, yeah.
Because I was looking at Delaware State yesterday. I was getting some research on them because they're 3-1 with their new head coach, Deshaun Jackson, and they play Michael Vick in Norfolk State at Lincoln Financial Field in a couple weeks.
Yeah, well, you know, they always ask Delaware, but they never ask Della why, or Della how, or Della who, or Della what.
Is it 407?
One more minute. 118 people in the building rocking with us. Appreciate you all for sticking around, watching everything. $20 will be your last chance to get in on this live show. If you want a chance at a Deion Sanders jersey, all you got to do is send in a quick little 20. That one Falcons fan says, after last week's fluke, I think we bounce back and win 28-24. Penix goes 29-45 for 329 and 3 touchdowns, and the defense gets 4 sacks. That is wishful thinking.
How about 28-3?
I would love it. I'm ignoring you. I'm definitely ignoring you.
Is there a live stream this weekend?
There is, Chris. We will be live at 11 a.m. on Sunday for Falcons versus Commanders. By the way, that game is at the Benz. Holla.
Noon Eastern.
What?
Noon Eastern.
Yes, noon Eastern. So 11 Central, noon Eastern. Terrell probably won't play. Yes, correct. He did not practice today, so it's not looking good. And remember, he's still week to week. We knew that. So he's probably not going to be at least ready to go until next week. All right, that seems to be it for today. Reminder to you all that we will be back on Sunday, but also we'll be back tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. We'll get a ton of more videos out surrounding the Dirty Birds. News, rumors, anything that you want. So make sure you hit that sub button. As always, Falcons fans, thanks for joining me today. Rise up and be cool.